Hi! I don't know how to do an intro. Welcome to the relaunch of this channel. I'm going to try and talk about things that I find interesting with as good a production quality as I can muster up. Currently my setup is down, so I'm kind of freestyling this and will edit in a lot of segments later. Anyways, so today I want to be talking about racing games and how they are so back, right? So over the last 5-10 years maybe, there has been overall negative sentiment about racing games, and there are a lot of YouTube videos about the topic, from racing games suck now to I love racing games, they suck, and the decline of racing games, and racing games have crashed and burned, with a title card reading "We killed racing games." And I understand this sentiment, right? Like, there is reason for this. At the end of the day, the genre is not what it used to be in the mid to early to late 2000s, early 2010s maybe. They do not make racing games like they used to. EA Black Box is gone and dead. Burnout, the franchise, is out, flat out, similarly gone. Gran Turismo 7 was a relatively disappointing launch for many people in the racing game community, including myself. And I grew up playing these games. I love these things, right? Like, I totally wish that we could see year upon year, banger upon banger released by the biggest franchises, biggest companies in the industry. But racing games just really are not the same thing as they were in 2010, 2005. And I'm not saying, oh, we cannot expect good racing games anymore, right? We'll get to that later. So, arcade racing as a genre has relatively fallen off, unfortunately. The genre is just less dominant. It used to be that the Gran Turismo games were the most selling games of their respective consoles for a while. And even if they weren't number one, they were up there. And since really the PlayStation 3 7th generation console era, that hasn't really been the case. And similarly, game developers have consolidated. No longer do we have like big names like EA carrying like 30, 50 franchises and like lots of developers spread across the globe. Nowadays it's 1,000-person dev teams on one big project. And another thing to consider, right, is we are boomers now. Like, I'm 24, reaching 25 this year. It's just, even if they released a new Need for Speed Underground 2, it wouldn't feel as fresh, because you and I, we have already played those games. We've played the golden era racing games, and at the end of the day, that sort of like special feeling that we are looking for is covered in childhood nostalgia that might not necessarily be able to be relived regardless of what is in front of you. All that to say that the industry is not the same landscape as it was during the quote-unquote golden era between, like, say 2001 and 12 for racing games. That does not mean that good racing games aren't being made or released. And in fact, I would say that, like, after around a decade of stagnation, we're finally getting new good stuff, right? And that mostly comes from smaller studios, indies, and game modders. What it is game development has never been more accessible. I'm a game developer by trade. I recently got hired at a big name company that I don't feel comfortable sharing yet, and also have been making independent video games for the last 7 or 8 years, and I have seen everything become easier, the communities explode, the tools get better, and it has led to many great things, specifically with regards to racing games. So, for example, we can look at mods first and foremost, right? We have Gran Turismo 4 Spec II. Now, I'm not a huge Gran Turismo 4 head, and I have heard differing opinions on Spec 2, but what it is it refreshes a classic, right? And if you haven't checked it out, and if you like Gran Turismo 4, you probably should. It's a good game that has been refreshed and modernized to some certain extents. There's Underground 2.net, which is an insane mod. There is deeper looks into it from Hoki Hoshi and all of your favorite racing game streamers who have played it to hell and back, I'm sure. But what it is it takes the hood classic banger that is Need for Speed Underground 2 and modernizes a lot of aspects, adds a ton of customization, and the general modding tools have gone so well that you can combo a lot of extra cars onto underground2.net to basically have your own Underground 3 with like the game that you never had as a kid, the next Underground game. It's there now and the community has done it for you. I added an image of BeamNG's gravitational racing mod. It's an old one, it's a classic, in my opinion at least. It's a rather unique thing where you race around different planets and like gravity fields in BeamNG.drive, and it's just a whole lot of fun. Similarly, there's Prostreet Pepega Edition. People have argued about this, it has caused Twitter drama, but at the end of the day, it's basically Prostreet 2. I'm staking my claim on this. This is a great game that has an entirely new story, a lot of new cars, cheats, new maps, a lot of interesting fun gimmicks. Yes, sure, it's on paper a meme mod for streamers, but what it really is it rolled way out of being that and became its own thing, and I am so very grateful. Prostreet was my favorite Need for Speed game from the Black Box era, and now you can play it again, and it's better than it ever has been. And then there's Simple.NG, that's not out yet, but it'll be out at some point, right? And I spoke to Shiny Odd, and what it is, to the best of my ability to remember, a mod that adds a bunch of really cool, unique, relatively rare in racing games, if not entirely never featured in any other racing game, licensed cars with a simplified damage model, so you can hop on BeamNG multiplayer and race your friends or partake in any number of activities. Then there's custom maps for, say, Forza Horizon 5. There was the tower, which was like a famous big thing that like AR12 has played to death now, but at the end of the day, that's a whole new way to play the game, and it is out there, right? Like, they have turned Forza Horizon 4 into Trackmania. I don't think that's something to ignore. There is new content for your classic racing games, and it is good new content. And when it comes to new releases, we have things like Hot Shot Racing, which I wasn't super excited about, but a lot of people like it a lot, and it's a nice little indie racing game with like a fully featured campaign. There's Art of Rally, a top-down camera view, low-poly rally sim? No, not really, rally game, right? There is Wreckfest. I think that's, like, Wreckfest is genuinely a very good spiritual successor to Flatout. Sure, you don't have your boost, sure, it's less arcadey, but what it is it's a rather good racing game with well-sorted physics, an active community, and plenty of fun to be had if you're into the, like, off-road demolition derby style. And then there's BeamNG Drive. It was heavily mentioned in this video's modding section, but it's a continually improving game that has very good destruction physics, and a lot of people think it's just a car crash simulator. It really isn't. What it is anything you can think of with cars. It's just your Minecraft, right? Like, you can do anything you can think of. There's plenty of campaign to it, there's plenty of extra mods to it, even the base game content, just the campaigns, just the time trials, is hours upon hours. There's at least 100 hours of racing to be done in it. I added in Slow Drive. That's a relatively old release now, but it's a nice little slowed down Trackmania style low poly racing game. It's like $10 on Steam, you should buy it, it's good. There's Night Runners, that's coming out this year as far as I remember, and it's a, you know, homage to the old racing games of the, like, Shutoku Battle series, or Tokyo Extreme Racer as they're often known, and it has a unique take on the Japanese highway racing genre. It drips with aura, and I think aura farming is an absolutely valid way to make a very good game, and it's just, at least the demo, in my opinion, is just fresh, fun, interesting, and just well presented. At the end, there is Tokyo Extreme Racer that came out this year, very recently. I was supposed to film this video before it came out, so I was going to like tentatively be like, oh, I don't know if it'll be that good. It's great, it's perfect, oh my god. The classic Tokyo Extreme Racer games are a little bit of a drag, they're hard to install, you have to emulate them, so on and so forth, and they don't look all that good being PlayStation 2 releases. Now you don't need to. There is just an all-encompassing good version of TXR that's available to everyone on Steam, runs on modern computers, is well optimized. It's in early access right now, so all of the content isn't out yet, but I mean, if you're looking for a good new racing game, it's there. At the end of the day, it's better for everyone. Better for the community, better for having new people join the racing game community to just talk about what is there to play, because what is there to play is new, fresh and good. You just have to look away from your Need for Speeds, your Forzas and your Gran Turismos. Those still exist, they're still okay. I actually enjoy Need for Speed Unbound, but where the real freshness is right now is in the indie space, and I think you'll be doing yourself a huge favor by just looking into it. As a final tangent, I want to say I'm also developing a racing game. Now, I don't know what this is exactly going to be. A lot of things have to be shaken out about what I'm making this game into, but what I do know is I'm looking for an easy, satisfying driving model that nonetheless has space for skill expression for the racing game diehards, while not alienating the people who are just dipping their toes into the genre. I'm going for a small install size, pre-tuned, good to drive cars that you can just buy outright, and definitely a bunch of multiplayer where I combine all of my favorite modes from a bunch of different games that I've played myself over the years from that golden era that I spoke about so fondly. And yeah, I'll try and go for a single player maybe. Anyways, that's horsepower. So thank you for watching this. As I have otherwise disclaimed, I am a professional game developer who is also an indie game developer. Yes, my hobby is also my job, and I do it both as a job and a hobby at the same time. This is not a smart idea, but what it gives me is a relatively unique position to give you an insight on how games are made, talk about interesting game design topics, talk about the, racing game that I myself am making. And I think I will try and upload more content, especially if this is well received, so feel free to drop a sub and or a like and or share it with your friends. I would, not mind. But yeah, thank you for watching. Hello, this is post-edit Kaya coming in. This video turned out pretty well, except I cannot seem to stare at the camera, I cannot seem to smile. Also, I keep cutting in with ands and ums. I didn't want to recut it. The next stuff will be better. To the best of my ability, this is something I'm still proud to share, and I hope you had fun.